Okay, I got a new mic. We're gonna see how this goes. I don't know if you can hear the dryer in the background, but shit's loud as fuck. It's fine. After the world ends, what survives? Mushi? Okay, listen. Previously, I did a video on Needy Stream Overload, and I mispronounced the character's name for the entire video, and I apologize for that. If I do it again, just let me know in the comments. Like last time, you guys did really well with that. Thank you. I appreciate it, but I'm probably gonna fuck up some names here. Mushihime says that bugs are not only the only creatures to survive, but also what causes the end of the world. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this book is silly and actually ridiculous, so strap in while I explain this insane book I read recently.
You are now listening to Makarosu 8299.
Mushihime starts with a guy having a dream about being killed by some woman. And he wakes up really scared of this dream woman, and I mean, it's valid, she's kind of spooky. She eats him. Like, she opens mouth real wide, eats man, eats boy, he dead. The book then immediately starts getting messed up. We then see a dog swarmed with ants, and I knew that this was just gonna be the worst time I have ever had reading. So the main characters take the dog to the vet, and we see that tons of animals have suffered the same fate. The main character then notices the girl from his dreams, and not only that, she's also the new transfer student. She starts to sniff the classroom because she's normal and not weird at all, and thinks to herself about how all the males are in heat, except for the main character who isn't in heat because he's afraid of her. For a valid reason, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, he keeps dreaming about this woman killing him, and now she's in his class. But not very long later, we get to see how dangerous she really is. We see her get hit on by an old man, and then she decides to take him up on his offer, and they go to a karaoke place. She then proceeds to throw up wriggly ass creatures into the old guy's mouth, and he, like, you know, that's just it. That's like, it's weird. She opens her mouth, these like worm creatures come out, go into him. It's weird. Then Ryoichi, the main character, wakes up after dreaming about what Kikuko, which is the girl, did to the old man. He then thinks about how freaky and kinky his dream was. And while he's thinking about that, he sees the old man making his way down the street, looking like someone who just got off a 3-week bender. The man then attacks Kikuko with a fucking brick and floors her. Women really have to go through a lot these days. I'm glad I've got male privilege. It's great. I don't have to get worried about being floored by an old man holding a brick. However, she gets right back up and a needle pokes out of her arm, and when the man goes to attack her again, she fucking kills him dead by sticking her arm needle into his head, ending his life instantly. She's awesome and definitely won't get insane and creepy as fuck in the future. So after killing this old guy, Kikuko passes out and Ryoichi carries her to his house because he's a gentleman, I guess, and ponders why he was dreaming about this girl, and then she decides to show Ryoichi what she's into and starts vomiting the weird wriggly things into his mouth. He's really not into it, each to their own, I guess. We then get introduced to some detectives who are investigating some really fucked up looking bodies. Like, the corpses are like, you know, covered in insect bites and shit like that. They've been through it. I've seen a lot of true crime documentaries, but nothing is as fucked up as these corpses. I promise that. Inside the corpses, they find the long worm creatures, which attach themselves to the victim's brain and drain the dopamine out of them. I'd probably be okay, because I don't think my brain has released dopamine for like the past 15 years, so I think I'd survive her. Ryoichi finds one of those weird ass things in his own mouth when he wakes up the next day and freaks out. He's a little bit of a crybaby, I'm not gonna lie. We then see the researcher talking about how insects are the next evolution of life and are going to take over after we kill ourselves with global warming, and Poland may have nuclear weapons. I believe him, he's definitely onto something. And I for one want to be ready for the insect uprising. It's so exciting, I really can't wait. But anyway, he calls up his own friend who knows all about Kikuko, and he heads right on over to stop her. He has a gun and he's cool as fuck. Guns are awesome and definitely aren't terrifying. So Ryuichi is kind of freaked out after a girl in his class vomited worm creatures into his mouth, and he doesn't know it, but she's literally in his walls watching him. I need it. Ryuichi's friends come to visit him right after because he doesn't show up to school because, you know, he's like freaking the fuck out. And while they're there, you just get to see Kikuko in the roof staring at them. She's just, you know, really chill and awesome. The gun-toting, bug-obsessed scientist talks about how there's a serial killer traveling Japan, killing people with bugs, and they have made their way to the very town that Ryuichi lives in. Scientists believe that there's someone in the city that the killer is looking for. They look at the security cameras and see that the last victim was hanging out with Kikuko. While this is going on, Ryuichi is sleeping very soundly while Kikuko stands over him with all those weird wriggling thingies in her mouth. It's really quite sweet of her, you know. She's just looking out for him in her own fucked up way, and there's really no way this is gonna get any more fucked up. Right? I'm gonna be wrong about this, aren't I? After having a fun nightmare about his friend Chicken, that's her name, I am not going to elaborate. Seeing one of those weird ass work things in his mouth, he sees Kikuko, who is in bed with him. She immediately sticks wriggling things down his throat. I don't know if I mentioned it, but those things suck the dopamine out of people's brains, which is great. I did mention it. I don't know why I rewrote that in my script. While she's doing this, Ryuichi's mother walks in on their special dopamine draining time, screams and runs away, and then falls down the stairs and fucking dies. She hits her head on the step and just dies. So now, Kikuko and Ryuichi live together. Kikuko looks after him, and he definitely isn't struggling to get by. His mental health, best it's ever been. Nothing's wrong with him. She ties him to a chair and forces him to eat, and also threatens to kill his friends if they ever show up. His friend Chicken, it's fucking weird. She ties him to a chair and forces him to eat, and also threatens to kill his friend Chicken if she ever shows up. You know, it's really sweet and cute, and they're having such a good time together. They're great, really good couple. But then the insects show up, and it starts getting a little gross. Like, there's a lot of bugs. So Chicken notices something's up with Ryuichi when she visits him, and then she meets the gun-toting scientist who goes, "We gotta break into Ryuichi's house, he's in danger." So then they break into Ryuichi's house, he point-blank shoots Kikuko in the head, and she survives. So he just straight up goes, "Well, we're fucked, she probably can't be killed." So after freeing Ryuichi, they take him to the hospital, and everyone gets together to talk about Kikuko. By everyone, I mean Chicken, the scientist with the gun, the detectives. It's just like this group of random people, really. They have like no connection. With the gang all together, the gun guy, I should probably find out his name. This is getting silly. I keep mentioning him, but I haven't actually found his name. I found it. It's Kazumi Akihiko. Anyway, he talks about how Kikuko was dying as a child, and in an attempt to save her, Kikuko's father injected her with insect DNA, which saved her, but then just also really fucked her up. So then he died, and now she's trying to fuck Ryuichi to reproduce, because get this, he's her biological brother, and she just really wants to fuck her brother, because reasons. I think it's great. Gotta love when a book brings in incest. It's got to do with the fact that Ryuichi's father is the twin of Kikuko's father, and that makes them technically siblings, and she can only reproduce with someone that has like similar DNA that she can change, I think. So after Ryuichi gets taken from her, Kikuko kind of goes a little crazy. She's like, "That's it, I'm gonna end the world, no one can stop me." So I kind of forgot to mention that while Kikuko is chasing Ryuichi through the vents in the hospital, the entire city is swarming with bugs. Like, insects are fucking everywhere, and it is a nightmare. They're like crawling into buildings, like forcing themselves through doors, and then like going into people's skin and like biting them, and then people's skin gets like really fucked up from insect bites. You see like these dudes walking down the street in like these hazmat suits, and then the bugs go into the hazmat suits and kill them, so like not even they're safe. No one is safe. There are bugs everywhere and they are under your skin. Do you hate the way your skin feels? Probably because there's bugs under your skin. It's fucking awful. I love it. It's also like really good art for no reason. Like the insects are just done incredibly well, like out of nowhere. Just the best insect art I have ever seen. She then breaks into the hospital to try and get Ryuichi back. So then after like the final confrontation, they have this big old fight, and then Chicken's like, Ryuichi, we gotta get out of here. And then Ryuichi goes, nah, I actually want to fuck my sister. So then they fuck and he turns into a bug creature. So happy ending, I guess. They live in the ocean and create a whole new species and just keep fucking. Incest prevails. They're just cool like that, I guess. And that's how it ends. I did forget to mention the whole thing where the teacher got stung by Kikuko and he turned into like a fucked up insect human, but not like a cool one like Ryuichi and Kikuko, like a really fucked up one that ate his own wife. But I mean, that's boring. I'd rather talk about how the biological siblings fucked and then evolved into higher beings and then left to live in the ocean to fuck more. In other words, that was Mushihime. I hope you like this book just as much as I did. It was truly a trip. I don't know where I'm finding these things. My TikTok algorithm is fucked up, and if you've got like any more recommendations for like fucked up manga like this, I will quite happily read it. I don't have limits. I will force myself through even the worst of stories. So yeah, give me your recommendations. I love them. Thank you so much for watching, and yeah, I'll see you next video later. Bye.